Now, first and foremost, we have a very general principle in the Quran in chapter 5, verse 32, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, whoever kills a human being without any reason, like a manslaughter or corruption of the earth, it is as though he has killed the whole of mankind. So what it tells us now is that Allah Azza wa Jalla is telling us that to kill someone, it has to be via a due process, via law, or via just reasons. And this is why the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the greatest sins are to associate something with God, shirk, and to kill human beings. Now, immediately after the verse of the Holy Quran, of the Noble Quran, which was mentioned in the connection of the right to life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and whoever saves a life, it is as though he has saved the lives of all of mankind. So we see these values from the Quran and Sunnah really being strong about killing innocents and killing in an unjust way. Following from this, we also have the rights of combatants. For example, we're not allowed to torture. And we're not allowed to torture with fire as well. In the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that can be found in Abu Dawood, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, punishment by fire does not behave anyone except the master of the fire, Allah Azza wa Jal. Also, we have that prisoners of war should not be slain. The Prophet ﷺ was very clear, and he said, no prisoner of war should be put to the sword. However, but Islam sets rules for war, which are to be followed if Muslims go to war. Now, here's some of the rules of war. And the Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his articulation of the rules of war predated and preceded the things like the Geneva Convention. So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was years ahead of his time, because we believe he was given divine revelation. So some of these rules include no killing of innocent people, no killing of women and children. You must not mutilate dead bodies. Bring no harm to the trees, no burn them with fire, especially those which are fruitful. Also, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said no one should be tied to be killed. He said, rather, the narration goes that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has prohibited the killing of anyone who is tied or is in captivity. Also, we have teachings concerning the looting and the destruction in the enemy's country. It's been narrated in the hadith in Al-Bukhari and Abu Dawood that the Prophet ﷺ said, the Prophet has prohibited the believers from loot and plunder. And in another hadith in Abu Dawood, the Prophet ﷺ said, the loot is no more lawful than the pig. Jihad is a liberating concept. Now, I'm not going to talk about the spiritual type of jihad, the jihad of the nafs, which is very important, and we know this. Because if you do jihad and you don't do it for Allah's sake, you're in hell. And you die, you go straight to hell. So that means there must have been a jihad of the nafs going on before, that you did it solely for the sake of Allah.
When we start busting our guns, do you think the politicians are going to die? No, it's going to be the average guy like you and your children.